This video is going to be a little different, and basically I'm just going to be sharing my screen and then I can show you exactly what I want to show you. So here you can see, you might just see a lot of words and colours, and basically this table here and these two tables here, they're basically just showing everything that I want to grow next year and exactly where in the beds I want to plant them and when in the year I will plant them. And so it's quite helpful to just have this to refer back to when I'm begin planting next year, so that I don't have to panic and rush around at the beginning of next year. And then down here I've got a list of all the plants that I want to grow, at least here. And when I say here, I mean on the roof terrace. And I haven't done any videos on that yet, but I will do in the future when I begin planting next year, so that'll be very exciting. And we're also getting a big cold frame that we're going to put up there, so I'll be able to show you that when it arrives. So here I've got my list of all the different vegetables on the left that I want to grow, and then on the right is the variety that I want to grow. And that's handy because, say for example, the Swiss chard rainbow mix did really well, I could then remember that from this year, and then the next year I started planting, I could plant that again, and then I'd know that it did well. Whereas if, for example, the dwarf French beans purple queen did badly, then I could do another dwarf French bean variety next year, and hopefully that would do better. So you should always make a list of the varieties that you're growing. And then here I've just got a little list of the different things I have to start off in seed trays rather than planting straight into the beds. And yeah, you can just make a table that's just words like this one is, but I've decided that I'm going to colour code it as well, because it just makes it a bit more visual, and it can be quite a bit nicer, and it's not just like black words. It brings a bit of colour to it. So I'm going to finish colour coding both of these other ones a bit later on. So yeah, you should definitely make sure that you've got a plan for the entire year before you start. So that's a really important thing, and I would recommend doing it around now or January or February, because we'll begin planting in around March or April. So yeah, get that done. And then another important thing that you should do is you should find a good seed site. For example, this year I've decided to use Premier Seeds Direct, and from there you can then look up all the different vegetables and varieties that you want to grow. For example, these are Onion Bunching Spring White Lisbon Organic, and I found that Premier Seeds Direct, they're really cheap. You can get, like here for example, there's 3,000 seeds for £1, and they're organic. And I would recommend getting organic seeds if you can, although not all varieties do organic. So I'm just going to be doing, for example here you can see there's some organic and some not, but that's okay, because it doesn't matter too much if they're not organic, it's just good if they are. So try and find organic if you can, but don't worry if you can't. And then yeah, so I don't know, you guys might have found better seed companies, but I've decided to use Premier Seeds Direct this time because they seem to be cheap and they have quite a good range of seeds. They don't have every single variety, as you can imagine, so you might have to go onto other sites to see those. And yeah, that's another thing that you should make sure you've done. And another recommendation that I think you should have done is, if you've been growing lots of vegetables or plants in the area that you're going to plant in next year, then I recommend that either, like in this video, you lay down a layer of leaves and then soil and then cardboard, or if you don't have the leaves or you can't be bothered to go and get them, then I would say just lay like a 1 to 3 inch layer of compost over the entire area that you want to plant on next year. And then if you want to not have to weed it for the rest of winter, then just lay some cardboard over the top of that, and yeah, that should cover you, and that will just give the soil some new soil that hasn't had all its nutrients taken out of it by the plants, and then that will help when you're growing your plants next year. So yeah, just make sure that you try and do those 3 things, and you should be pretty much set up for next year. Yeah, thank you for watching and listening, and I hope you found this very helpful. Thank you, and goodbye.